Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good Sunday so far. And today we are going to do some black cat stuff. I know you're wondering, yeah, you say black cat, but you have some gray clay in front of you. Well, that is because if I would do all this with black clay, you wouldn't be really able to see what I'm doing, right? So I'm going to do stuff using gray clay, but hi Colleen. But this is actually to show you how to work with the black clay. So all this you'll have to do in black, even if I'm doing it in gray. So there are many things that you can do with the theme of black cats for Halloween. Of course, you can do earrings, and those are among the easiest things to do. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Cherry. I am so much better now with little old man Whisper feeling better, and he finally went to bed. So, um, anyway, getting back to the black cats. Let's see how can you do some really easy earrings, black cat like. First of all, what you need is to make some sausages. Hi, Don. Hi, Anna. So, generally speaking, when I want to make a sausage or a string or whatever, what I start with a bowl. And because my main thing is that I don't want to have air trapped in there. So, I will first get me a piece of clay and then get it into a bowl. Hi, John. Hi, Edna. Hi, Don. And then I will roll it until I have no more folding lines. Bonjour, Dominique. Bonsoir, pardon. C'est soir là-bas, huh? So, I'm going until I have no more folding lines. After which, most of the time, I will use my acrylic block to start forming it. And but that is not an absolute must. You can start even if you don't have an acrylic block. You can still work it. But let me show you both ways. So if you go without an acrylic block, you start first with one finger until you get the shape. Then you can add one more finger. But ideally, you start after it gets about 1.5 finger length, you start using your palm. Why? Because the fingers will leave a groove. But the best way to do it is still with an acrylic block. And I will show you how much easier it is to start it with an acrylic block. You just use the acrylic block and go like this. And start pressing a little bit. You don't need to do that too much. So again, you have to make sure and check that you don't have any kind of air pockets kept in there. And then you slowly start pulling it out. If you've ever done any kind of more complicated baking, you know that that's exactly what you do with dough whenever you want to make all kinds of lattices and stuff. So let me get part of this separately and use part of it to get it even smaller because I need it to be fairly thin. Bonsoir, Marijuana. Hi, Zenta. Now, it also depends on how big you want your earrings to be, but let's go ahead and first cut this in two. So I'm going to cut the ends just so that I can have equal stuff going on here. I'm going to first cut it in half, and then I'm going to cut each of the halves in half. This is the cat with the tail up, okay? So for the body, so I had a 4 inches thing and I cut it in 1-inch pieces. For the body, I'm going to use 2 of these pieces. Hi, Soile. How are you ladies today? How's everybody doing? And you gently round up the ends, very gently. You're gonna need to work with both of them at the same time. How's the weather in Canada, Soile? Because in the US, it's a mess. And then, what you do, you bend them right in the middle. And make 2 nice. Let me get this closer. But you want them to be kind of rounded, bended. They look prettier that way. And these make great gifts for little girls or even for, yeah. Even for teenagers and even for ladies, why not? You know, when you go to work, let me make sure that I have this perfectly focused here. Just a second. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's not dark here yet, but and most of Europe is going to the back to the winter time today, isn't it? Then you get the other one. And you about half of it, you get it just a tad thinner, just a little bit. And then you flatten the end that you did not. You can use a ball stylus. And flatten it a little bit. So let's do the same with this one. Donc, vous avez des congés, Aliban? Okay, so we'll have these. Let me get it even brighter if possible. There. Okay. Then you shall place the tail right here and see how I flattened it like this. Place it down like this and then hold with one finger and with the other finger simply blend the tail in place and then blend a little bit. We'll turn it around to blend the rest. but let's do first the other one as well. So you place against the butt of the cat the flattened out area, then you blend first the very end, and then you blend the top. And again, I do this with gray clay so you can see what I'm doing, but you do it with black clay. Donc, je dis qu'on va faire, maintenant, je fais des boucles d'oreilles comme des chats. Et j'ai dit au début que je vais travailler dans la pâte grise parce que si je fais tout ça en pâte noire, vous n'allez pas voir très bien ce que je fais. Donc, moi, j'utilise la pâte grise pour ça, mais utiliser de la pâte noire pour faire tout ça. Donc, j'ai fait des petits saucisses que j'ai coupées. Ça, c'est le corps et ça, c'est la queue. Et je montre comment attacher le cœur et la queue au corps. So you saw I turned it around and now I'm blending. And you want to hold on to them a little bit. Of course, you're going to place them on a piece of paper, on a tile, so that they won't mess around. Then the next thing, you need 2 little balls, obviously. So cut 2 equal balls here. And yes, we'll do something with those tails. They won't be like that. C'est quoi ça, Dominique? Le front? Ah, le front. Ah, je sais pas. Hi, Catherine. So I'm making little balls out of this. And then gently use your X-Acto knife to cut up just a little piece in the end so you can create a little flat area. And then place the flat area right here. Oops. Sorry, I told you my hands don't do the pinching thing very good. And you can hold this against a little bit so you can press it down. And then you simply, I'll get back where you belong. You simply get this like this. And you will connect it with a little screw loop. I didn't thin this out enough. With a little screw loop, you make a little hole in here and then you glue the screw loop in there. I didn't thin this out before placing it here. Ah, boom. So the other thing that you need to do before everything is said and done, and I'm going to just explain to you because it's very hard to do it in front of a camera. Before you get them to bake, gently lift them And that's what I usually do. Gently lift them and then make 2 little cuts on each side, pretty much here, like this, before baking them. And make sure that your cuts are about, I don't know, 1/3 of a millimeter thick, like this. And make that on both sides. And then the way that I do it, I take a crochet, and I'm going to use this Etch and Pearl to oh, ça serait bon. And let me tell it real quick. Donc, avant de les mettre à cuire, faites des petites incisions ici qui devraient être approximatif 1/3 de millimètre. Et je vais expliquer comment faire les oreilles pour les appliquer après que vous cuissez. Donc, je prends un crochet. Ça, c'est seulement pour exemple, c'est pas un crochet. So I'm going to use the Etch and Pearl to explain to you. And what I do, I just put drops of liquid clay here. And you know that you can also get the colored liquid clay from all the brands, like the Super Scalpy here and stuff. And then I place a drop that I make sure that it's a little ovalish, like this. And I just use the heat gun on it. And then once it is baked and kind of hardened, you take it off, and you can even trim it with a pair of small cuticle scissors. And then you place it, you dip it in a little bit of liquid clay and you place it in here. And then all you have to do is to use the heat gun a little bit on it. So this would be one way, because once they have their, and if you don't have that, you can, but it would be a little bit more time consuming placing regular clay ears. I'll still show you. Donc, j'ai dit, vous prenez un crochet, vous mettez des gouttes de pâte liquide. Parce que toutes les pâtes ont une version liquide colorée. Donc, vous prenez de la pâte liquide noire et vous mettez une goutte sur le crochet et vous utilisez le pistol chaud, je ne sais pas comment ça s'appelle en français, pour cuire la pâte liquide. Et ensuite, vous mettez un petit peu de pâte liquide là-bas et vous insérez les oreilles. So you can place ears made out of actual clay if you want, but as I said, it's a little bit more complicated. And when I do stuff tiny like this, I usually bake all these before the tiny elements that get inserted. I bake them before the main. Okay, where is it? Oh, there it is. Hold on a second. I need to remove my glasses. Before inserting them where they belong, and I'm talking about, you know, like teeth and claws and things like that. Come on, get off. As I said, you can insert them before baking and use just regular clay, but then it's going to be a little bit more complicated to bake. So they would look pretty much like this. But they are more resistant if you use the liquid clay the way that I explained. Let me get this really focused. So this is how it would be. And of course you can add eyes, and that is really easy to do. Yeah, you can use chalk pastel. Ah, bon, merci, Dominique. You can use chalk pastel. You can use black alcohol ink. You can use acrylic paint. Of course, you can color the white clay without a problem. To make little eyes, you just use a different color clay. You make itty bitty balls of it. That would be obviously yellow or green. And then you place the balls on the front of the head. This is holding. With a ball stylus, and you pretty much flatten them in place. Make sure that they are small enough. I made them a little bit too big here. And then once they are baked, just use a marker to draw a vertical line here, and you should be just fine. Now, if you want to do a fluffy tail, it can be done, but it's a little bit more time consuming, and I showed you before how to do furry-like style stuff. So you do your tail a little bit more tear-shaped. And a little bit thicker at the base. If you want your cat to be in a hissy fit. And again, you cut the end like this. And you want the tip to be fairly thin so it can go hook-like. And then the same way as I showed you on the bat wings, you just go in and do the fur thing, or you can even use the cuticle cutter. Just don't make them like scales. Make them kind of random to lift the pieces of clay, and lift the pieces of clay this time. So they would look like fur. You want it to look very flattened. Another way and a very successful type of cat stuff is, let me get the white off of this one, is the hanging on cat. Yeah, you can use alcohol ink without issues. And then you can use all kinds of other pigments, because you have the colored pigments like from primary elements, and even Perlex has a carbon that you can use. Or you can just place a little piece of black clay, because with a drop of clay softener, because it will dissolve. Okay, the other way of doing a cat is the hanging cat. And for this, I'm going to take, I don't really need so much. And these, a lot of people make for cheap keychains, especially. So what you need is, practically, I'm going to cut this in two. And you need one end to make it into paws. And the best thing is to get a jumbo ring that you put the poles over. Okay, I so wish that this Cortana crap would stop giving notifications when I'm working on something. Because it comes out and I cannot touch what I want to touch, to click on. Okay, so this is a little bit too thick. So you'll need first a body. Okay, so you make a body. Of course, in the case of keychains, you make it a little bit bigger than what I do. Here, maybe I should make it a little bit bigger. And you want to make your body to look like a bean. Donc, pour les porte-clés et aussi pour des boucles d'oreilles, c'est le motif de chat qui s'est agrippé à quelque chose. Donc, vous commencez avec un petit bout de pâte que vous faites ressembler du... Oh my God, how do you say beans in French? Hold on, let me check. Because I have a brain freeze thingy. Un haricot, c'est ça. Donc, vous faites le corps ressembler à un haricot. Hi, Chris. And then you take 2 equal pieces. To make them into paws. Get the tops. And again, remember that all this is supposed to be done with black clay, and I'm working it in gray so you can see what I'm doing. And place them here. Yeah, and I know that I did post on the last live. I told you if you have any ideas on subjects for the last Halloween themed live. And I had a lot of other ideas, but that subscribers have posted. But what I should have actually mentioned to make it easier for somebody, but that would also give you an idea of what I am facing when I'm scheduling these lives. So generally speaking, it has to be something that does not require a lot of successive bakings, because that would mean that I have to either have a very, very long live to wait for it to be baked so I can continue, or to have actually 2 lives with the same subject so that I can start it in one and then continue the next week with the part 2. I did that several times. The other thing is that, goodness gracious, I could make you watch me make absolutely super awesome things. But the idea of these lives is not about me showing off what I can do. The idea of these lives is about finding things that almost everybody can do. And I'm not talking about dumbing down or anything, but things that would be, number one, easy to make for almost everybody, including the beginners. And number two, this is clay with me Sunday is supposed to be, generally speaking, a fun thing, something that you do on a Sunday when you don't have pretty much other stuff to do, and you just, want to do something lighthearted and fun to enjoy your Sunday. So even if I had a lot of suggestions that were awesome suggestions, but they did not really fit these parameters. They were either too complicated. I had a few suggestions that actually had nothing to do with polymer clay. And I had to apologize because they didn't really have to do much with my areas of interest. And there are tons of videos on how to make Halloween trick or treat bags and things like that. Um, but as I said, it's not my thing. And other things were way too complicated to do them on a live. I was thinking maybe next year for Halloween, why don't we do some what you call it, some fridge magnets too, and some pins. Okay, so you see how I placed those 4 pieces. Let me get it close and focus it. So I placed the 2 longer pieces. It would be almost like a person's body, only that it goes like this, right? Let me refocus it back. Okay. So, oh, Anna, I don't know. I'm like, hi, Judy. I'll just have a lot of ideas. That's the thing. But in our case, these are the front legs and these are the back legs. So let's attach a tail to it. So I'm going to cut a tail here. And of course, you can make this in white cat if you want to do uh, something that wouldn't be Halloween themed. You just want cats. And again, what I'm showing you here is something that is very, very simple. It's basic sculpture. So you saw how I flattened this here. And then we go ahead and we blend it in here. And of course, you can spend more time than I'm doing now blending. And always remember, if you want a very nice blend, all you need to do is a little bit of alcohol and a little bit of rubbing. And yes, you can use paint brushes too. And that will make very nice smooth effect. Let me focus this properly too. So you can see how smooth it got because of the alcohol. Okay. There's no trace there. This clay has a little bit of mica in it, so you might be seeing some mica shift going on. Okay, now we need to take care of the head. And again, what we need is a little ball. And the same thing, you can add, what do you call it? Scrap clay, liquid clay, not scrap clay. Liquid clay ears, or attach the ears before you bake. If you do this for a keychain, you need to make it a little bit bigger and then get one of those jumbo rings and place the paws kind of like around it, so the cat will be hanging on for dear life. And this one was black. Oh, that's fine. And you want, in this case, the ears to be a little bit towards the back, because a cat that would do that would be kind of scared and would have its ears back. Before doing anything else, you want to cut a little bit of flattened area here. And then place your cat head, which I made a little bit too small. But anyway, that would be a hanging cat. The head needs to be bigger than this. But this is pretty much how it should look like. And as I said, it would hang on a wire here. You can actually bend these and just put them like this, and then draw a few toes, but it would be a cat that's hanging on. And you can do all kinds of other animals, of course. Now, one of the nicest things that, and I fully intend at one point to make a cane with that, one of the nicest things to ever obtain is a cat's eye. Okay. How can you have fuchsia cats? Oui, c'est top cats ce soir. Okay, let's do a little sculpture. And I'm not going to make it too big, but just to show you how you can do a cat sculpture. And you can make it as a pendant or as earrings, but this one I'm going to make it a little bit larger, so you can see better how to do. Oh, okay. I thought that real cats, you had real cats, fuchsia colored. So we start with a ball of clay that we then kind of, not really teardrop, more like cone size, make it to half cone, semi-cone, just by, see how I'm holding the acrylic block like this, not like this, to obtain a slightly bent, slightly conical shape. And this will be your body. This is a very stylized cat. This would be your body. This is how it looks like. And it's more of a Siamese looking cat. Then you need sausages. As before. So you need your sausages to be, the first two sausages, to be about the size of the, what will be the neck here. Okay. And in order to measure them, divide this in 4 mentally, and then place it about 3/4 up. And that's pretty much the measure that you need. And then end of about a little bit before the very end, place your finger like this and press to thin out just this area. Do the same for both of them. And then do a diagonal cut. Diagonal cut. And this will be the front paws. So you place where exactly where it's the thinnest. Place it here, and you place the part that you have cut in a diagonal. Blend. As I said, don't worry too much about this because you can blend very nicely with the paintbrush and alcohol once you're done. Hi, Pam. Then let's get another piece of sausage. This time you want it to be, again, about the same size as your neck, but about 1.5 the width, the length, width, however you want to call it, of the bottom of the body. So we are going to cut 2 pieces like that. And yeah, we leave these here for now. Then we gently start tapering. Whatever is the best for you. But you need to really, really taper this. And make sure they are both the same length. And then this, gently round it up. You can use this motion. And this is how I make them. Okay, if you find another way of making them, of course, you're welcome to. And then flatten this part, the larger part. Si vous avez besoin de plus d'explications que ce que je dis, ce que je fais, parce que je crois que c'est assez explicatif, je crois, ce que je fais ici. So place, you see how I gently flatten this, and you have to flatten it on the other direction, then kind of like perpendicular on what you flattened here. And again, make sure that this is nicely rounded. Same for this other one. You have this flattened here, you have this flattened like this, and gently rounded. And then in order to attach this, you go like this, make a notch in here, and you have one of the back paws. Same here. You first place this, make a notch in here, bend, and you have the other back paw. So now we have the cat sitting. Now we gently bring these forward to the point that they come together. And here you might have to sculpt a little bit and flatten the front if need be. Cut the excess. Get this. Let me see what I'm doing here. That wouldn't work from above. Okay, now you can see. So gently. Oh, c'est bon, Dominique. Hi, Joe. So gently sculpt the front paws. And of course, you're going to pay more attention at what I'm doing here. I'm giving you pretty much the gist of it. You want to go a little bit more in more detail than what I'm doing here, because it would be very hard to show you in live how to do this. I could do it in a separate tutorial with the cameras positioned properly. And then don't forget to make a few notches for the paws, and the same on the back paws. Make a few notches, not too deep. Careful with the notches, don't go too deep because this is a cat, not a rabbit. And now let's do the head. Okay. So we need a ball as usual. And then you gently triangularize a little bit the ball here. And this is what you need to obtain. So first press like this, then press like this. Let me show you again from the beginning. So you get a ball. Make sure that your ball is a good size. So I need a little bit bigger for the for your total cat. Now remember, if you want it to be more kitten-like, you make the head bigger. But this is a relatively good size. Now, to make the face, press like this, press like this. Again, press like this, press like this. And then come from the front at a little bit of an angle. Because you want the head to be not very long. If you make it too long, if you make the muzzle too long, it will look like a rat. Cats have a little bit more of a chin than a rat. And depending on the type of cat you want to make, the muzzle can be more elongated or less elongated. But in our case, by the body type, we went pretty much for something that is more Siamese style. And the Siamese have a wedge-shaped head. So let's make some ears as well. Again, you want them to be a proper size, and we need 2. You place the eyes before arranging, and again, you can use just 2 dots of other clay. Let me get 2 dots of other clay. And then do with a marker the pupils. Yes, they are good enough. And you don't want, in this type of cat, you don't want the eyes to be perfectly round. You want, the best is to use a half a dot. And let's make the ears. The best thing for the ears would be to make like a double cone bead, cut it in 2, and then you'll use your ball stylus to attach it. I don't know if you, I honestly have some issues with the newest because they just refined the Siamese breed to the point that now they look like Dobby, the house elf. They have very thin and long faces, almost rat-like, and humongous, humongous ears. And again, just a small slit in here. And if you do this basically, like a basic thing several times, then you'll manage to find where you can refine it to look even better. But first attempt to sculpt it in a very simple way like this. And it's much easier when you can actually sculpt it in a position that is comfortable for you. And then you can lift it and blend here at the, let me make sure that you can see it, at the neckline. And of course you can just simply make the lines for the nose. Now to make the lines for the nose, all you need to do is to make that little this, this, and this, like this. You don't even have to bother with the lip line. Just gently. And there you go. As I said, this is very crude. It's just to show you the basics. So the only thing that we need to do now, but this is how you create your cat body. Oh, the only thing that we need now is to make it a tail. And again, a little sausage that we are going to attach on the back. Blend a little bit, then bring it over. Oops, I didn't attach it very good. Then bring it over to the front. It needs to be a little bit straighter. But yeah, this is pretty much your cat shape. This is how you can make a very easy cat sculpture. Here, of course, you need to make sure that you get closer and a little bit thinner. But as I said, essentially this is your method of easily creating a cat sculpture. A Spider-Man mask. Yeah. Okay, now in order to make a simple cat pin, and this will be the last. No, he's just sitting, he's not pooping. He's just sitting. In order to make a regular cat face, one of my very first videos that I posted was with how to make a realistic iris doing a cane. And I showed on a human style iris and on a dragon style iris. But the dragon style, excuse me, iris can be very easily be adapted for a cat. Another thing that you can do, and I'll show you a few things about making cat eyes that is really easy to create, you know, because your main thing is about all that pretty iridescence and stuff. So if you want to make, let's say, a medallion with a cat's eye, number one, kind of figure out where you'll want the pupil. Okay. And this is something where you'll put a little piece of clay, a black clay, over. Let me make sure I have everything focused properly again. Okay. Then what you need to do is to practically use the back of your blade or this sculpting tool that I'm using, and just do lines going from the center towards the out. And you can use colored clay, but honestly I'm going to use mica on this, so the background clay on this won't matter too much. The idea is that you need to make a lot of lines, and it's one of the simplest mica things. And of course you'll cut it afterwards with a round cutter. That's not a problem. and you cover it with resin after you bake it. But to create a very pretty looking iris. And that's also goes for dragon eyes. So at this point, start being a little bit more random. You don't want those lines to be perfectly straight. You just want to have a whole bunch of lines here. Then I'm not sure. I might have to go for the tape because I think I had to pack something and I got it out of here. I sure did. Just a second. Okay. So as you can see, I got some blue, I got some green, and I got some gold. It doesn't really matter what shades you're choosing. Doesn't have any kind of importance. First, I'm going to place a little bit of, oops, this is actually the blue-green. I think the dual blue-green here, it's the dual blue-green. So I'm going to place a little bit of this in the middle. And go really in with the paintbrush so to make sure that it goes in all those notches. Donc maintenant, je vous montre comment faire un iris de chat pour un pendentif qui sera très 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 joli. Et vous allez le couvrir avec de la résine. Then I'm going to get the green, and I think that I grabbed the duo yellow green. I didn't have any, I just reached. And again, I'm going to go, and you can do this with reds. I mean, the cats have amber color eyes and all that. All kinds of things. Vous pouvez aussi utiliser celui-ci, cette technique pour faire des yeux de dragon. Yeah, let me actually, instead of that gold, because I have this one with a yellow component, let me grab a reddish mica powder. Okay, so this will be your background. Make sure that everything is in those notches, in those little grooves that you just made. And then lift it. Yeah, I know what you meant. It's not an asshole. It's going to look very pretty as a cat's eye or dragon's eye. So what you want to do now is to lift whatever's on the top, leaving only the mica powder that's in the grooves. And then you apply the other color. But this time you don't use the paintbrush. You only want to apply it on the ridges. And actually, I think I have an orange one. Yellow should be fine. It would make a much better effect than metallic. It's not an asshole. Shut up. It's not an asshole. Listen. Watch. And once you cover it with resin, it will have all kinds of iridescences. Then, as I said, you will use a piece of black to make the pupil. Hey. Okay, this won't work. I need to put the... I was hoping I don't have to do this, but I do. And I promise you, once you cover it with resin, it looks absolutely fantabulous. And you can also make some zigzags here. They would just add to the more realistic iris look. And then just grab a round cutter, the size that you would want it to be, and cut your eye. You cannot really see what I'm doing here because the camera is on top. And there you go. So as I said, once you cover this with resin, it will have a lot of iridescences, and you can actually add some interference powders if you want, but you will be amazed at how gorgeous it looks when covered with resin. And of course, you can make a ton of color combinations. And a ton of combinations with these lines. As I said, you can make some zigzags. You can make some of them closer to the iris, deeper, and the ones more far away, thinner. But the general effect is absolutely fabulous. And yeah, until I get to bake it, I cannot really put resin on it, obviously. But yeah, this is pretty much how you can make a stunning cat's eye. And of course, you can make one of the nicest things that I think. Thank you, Holly. One of the nicest things that I think I've ever seen. I did not come up with the design. I saw it with somebody, and I asked, and they allowed me to make some myself, and I made them with this technique because she was using the little these painted these things, but I used this type of technique. Um, is with the eye of Ra, you know. Yeah, you dome it. Imagine the eye of Ra. Probably most of you know the eye of Ra in the Egyptian hieroglyphic thing. When you go with the whole hieroglyph, and then instead of the regular eye inside, you use a cat's eye and make a pendant like that. It is so beautiful. I cannot even explain it. Maybe I should make a tutorial on that. But it is absolutely fabulous. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry I didn't really make finished pieces. It was more to give you the basics on how to create stuff that would be easy to make. And you still have time to make some earrings for the little ones in your house, at least the very first ones that I showed. So yeah, that would be an eye of bust. You're right. It wouldn't be an eye of Ra anymore. It would be an eye of bust. What a wonderful name, Joe. That is awesome. Okay. And I hope you have a good Sunday. I'll go back finishing my sponsor tutorials and hopefully finishing that sugar skulking because with everything that's been going on with Whisper, I'm so behind. For 2 or 3 days, I couldn't work at all because I had to, every time he would move, that would be every like 5 or 10 minutes, I had to get up to make sure that he doesn't want to go outside, that he doesn't throw up, that he doesn't. And I didn't sleep very well either because I had to be careful about that. So hopefully now we won't have any more issues and he won't get into cat treats anymore. So thank you so much for being here. Oh, I'm sure she would. I'm sure she would. And I hope you have a wonderful remaining of whatever's left of Sunday and a great week coming. Thank you. Have a great evening.